Following your passion is actually a horrible idea. Here's why. I think we can all agree that we hate doing things that we suck at. Passions don't just fall into your lap from nowhere. No matter how much time you spend hoping for that, it's never gonna happen. Passions grow over time. Learning more over time and becoming more knowledgeable about a certain subject compared to the rest of the public is highly enjoyable. And that's what feeds your desire to become better at a certain subject. Now, on the opposite side of the coin, I think the problem with this advice is that when it comes to your business or career or even hobbies, how are you meant to know what your passion is going to be when you start? And to be honest, like later on in life, you might evolve and change as a human being and find a new passion. How can you choose your path when you don't know what you want to do? You're just sort of sitting around waiting for inspiration to kick you in the ass. And with this advice, you'll always be looking over your shoulder wondering, is this the best passion I could have? Is this the best career path I could have? And you may keep switching over and over and over until you hopefully find what you want. But that's not always guaranteed. For instance, I used to hate photography. The photos I had in my head never looked like what I was capturing. Or a better example, I used to hate playing music. My piano teacher would teach me rudiments over and over and over again until my fingers bled, and the music never sounded like what was in my head. Now for photography, it wasn't until I learned what ISO, shutter speed, and aperture were, and then practicing with lots of trial and error over and over and over, until I began to develop a passion for photography. Similarly, it wasn't until I started playing drums, the right instrument, until the music started to sound like what was in my head, and that's when it clicked. Okay, so why does follow your passion sound like good advice, but is actually bad advice? If I followed the advice of follow your passion, I'd still be trying to make it as a professional musician, and that wouldn't have worked out. Instead, the mindset to have is to be so good that they can't ignore you. There's a book written by Cal Newport, and that's what I'm going to kind of dive into now. And the idea here is don't follow your passion. Instead, curate skills that make you so good in your field that you can't be ignored. Now that's a lofty sentiment, but to break it down, in your career, as you develop, acquiring new skills gives you more freedom over your career. The more skills you acquire, the more freedom you have over your career to choose what you want to do. If you have more skills, your boss will not want to get rid of you. And the lever you can pull to ask for better compensation or a better job title or a better role, more flexible hours, better vacation days, is easier when you have more skills. Or better yet, maybe you can go off and start your own thing, start your own business, start your own service or consultancy because your skills are so valuable. My theory here has been to learn skills, apply them to your life, and rinse and repeat. And as you go through this process of learning a new skill and springboarding your thoughts off of that, getting inspired by others and making it your own, over time your passion grows. So to be honest, in the beginning, you don't have to be passionate about the thing that you're learning. You just have to be interested in learning more about the subject or role. And having this mindset will open you up to new avenues, to other jobs, to other skills that you hadn't thought of before. It'll open up your mind to skills and other things to create around. And to be honest, or at least for me, sometimes these skills are completely unrelated. So for instance, I was really into music and playing drums and enjoyed that career in my life. It was absolutely phenomenal. But I was always interested in the photographers and videographers that were around me when I was performing. And so after the show or before the show, I'd always ask them what gear they were using, what cameras, how they film, how they edit, what software they're using. It always intrigued me. It was a world that I didn't know, but I was excited about it as a child, and then I wanted to get into it as an adult. And this was years ago. This was way before the term influencer had even been coined. So months later, I learned the ins and outs of a camera, skill acquired. Then I learned more about the editing software, how to process and post-production and create a video, skill acquired. Then, and completely not related, I was always interested in health and wellness products, how to keep my mind and body, feeling as good as it could when I was touring and playing music. And this led me down a career of creating my own seaweed-based health products for my own business. And then in later years, expanding that mindset into the CBD industry, where I was consulting and making products for some top-tier companies globally. Then I got really interested in videography and photography and telling my own stories with little or no resources. skill acquired. And I promise, my story of entrepreneurship and the business I'm building is coming up on this channel. Then I wanted to get better at filming myself and being on camera. That was so difficult for me in the early days, but skill acquired. And so now I have these random assorted skills that when I had an interest for them at the beginning, there was no connecting the dots. But as I've moved through my life, having hindsight 2020, I can now connect the dots of these different skills that I now have a passion for that started off just as interests. So now, all of a sudden, there's the skills acquired to build a YouTube channel and document my process of my life, of my business, and my interests. When I was younger, there was no such thing really as a YouTuber. Like, that didn't exist. That wasn't a career goal of mine. But to tell stories effectively, to communicate my story with hopefully a big audience, is a passion of mine now. So it's similar but different in that don't follow your passions. Acquire skills, and the freedom to do what you want with your life will grow exponentially. With that mindset of acquiring skills will come the freedom to do whatever you want with your life. You have to have an interest in something and the ability to be okay with sucking at it when you start. Once you've found an interest in something, just dive straight in, no matter how random it might seem. That's why we shouldn't chase passions, because they change over time. Instead, chase gaining skills. So being a YouTuber is by no means the final goal, but acquiring the skills to leverage one of the largest platforms, utilizing one of my favorite communication methods, which is video and storytelling, is my passion now. And this mindset is hopefully going to unlock new doors that I haven't even seen yet. It's going to create new paths or channels for me that I can't even comprehend. But I do have a passion for gaining new skills, and so should you. Let me know if any of this resonated with you, and leave a comment, like, or if you want to subscribe, that's greatly appreciated, and I will chat to you guys soon. Cool, done.